Mm.
Hi, everybody. This is Erica from In the Company of Cards, and welcome to another Sunday conversation with our old friend, Dr. Lena Rodriguez from Tarot Down Under. Welcome, Dr. Lena.
Oh, look, thank you for having me on, Erica. I really enjoy our sessions. We get
Me
stuck
too.
into the nitty-gritty. Yeah.
Me too. People sometimes will say, "Oh, could you two read cards?" And I always say, "No, Lena reads cards on her channel. I read cards on my
Yeah.
channel." So you can always see us read. But
Mhm.
this is another sort of teachable moment. How can we just have conversations about these tough
Yes.
times and these
It's
tough
so
issues?
precious.
Mhm.
Mm.
So I'm delighted to have you on as my guest once a month. I think it's been
Thank
great,
you.
and
Thank
we'll keep going, and I'm loving it.
you. Mhm.
So. And look how we're dressed. I mean, I know it's your March in the East Coast. That would be March weather.
Yeah.
So for me, it's still summertime, but we've got pink and purple, so we complement.
Yeah, we're in this particular sort
Love
of vibe.
it. Absolutely. So one of the things that I said to you, Lena, when we came on the screen is that I am I'm fascinated that I still have viewers who comment with a question, how much longer will we have to endure this? Now, by that, they mean a lot of things. I mean, we all know what the big question of the hour is. How
Yes.
long will certain people be walking the earth? And God only knows, so we'll leave it at that. But I think that beyond that, what they mean is, when will this entire saga be a page that we can turn? Do you get people
Yeah.
asking you that as well?
And yeah, a lot. And I understand
Oh, yeah.
this. I understand why people desperately want to know there is an end to this horror and upset and this constant disturbance. And so I understand. But the way I look at it is we are in an evolutionary time and a revolutionary time, and they are not easy spaces
No.
to be in. When we read about something like the French Revolution, it's compressed into, and the people rose up, and then there was egalite, fraternity,
Right,
like,
right, right.
and we're in that gnarly place now. But it's also, he is their front man. But now Project 2025 has got so entrenched it's independent of him now. So it's
It
how
is.
people are
Yes,
going to handle that.
that's right. I mean, we all know when the figurehead goes, corks will be popped. So I'm just going to leave that there.
Oh, yeah.
But it will not be the end, because as you say, yes, they are entrenched in the way that they've taken over, for example, the courts,
Yes. I mean, and
vote, and
the
the
media
media.
is so intimidated.
Right. So I'm going to say the good news is there is an end point. It's like the wheel in tarot. What
Mm,
goes down goes up. So we're
mm,
down now, but we'll go up.
mm.
But that going back up w- could take some considerable time. And by the way, we're still going down. That's the thing.
Yes,
We
we
haven't
haven't
even,
quite reached the nadir
no,
yet
we
of
haven't.
this.
We have not. And so, my best advice is to drink your water, hydrate, you know, get your rest, ration where and how much news you ingest,
Mm.
um, but to stay aware and stay alert and understand that this is no one and done easy thing. As quickly as everything has been dismantled in this last, what, 7 months, it could take years to fix it. And in those years,
Yeah.
everybody's calling Israel a pariah genocidal state. Um, I don't know that we've quite reached the genocidal point, but we are definitely going to be a pariah state in the eyes of the world, including our allies. And even in relationships, when trust is broken,
Hmm.
it takes time to win that trust back. You can't just say, oops, sorry, can we go back to normal?
Mm.
So it's
And
going to
the
take a while.
problem for Vance will be, even once the Yeti has fallen over or, is in a wing with 24-hour nursing or whatever it is that's going to happen, he's personally insulted so many allies and enemies. So his Chinese peasants comment will be remembered by China for 400 years.
Yes, yes,
Right? It's
yes,
the insults. Canadians are not going to buy a bottle of Kentucky bourbon for 2 generations
right. Or visit Las Vegas or,
or visit Las Vegas.
yeah,
And I think with Vance in particular, I mean, to the UK, describing the UK as a random nation who hadn't fought a war when 500 UK troops died in Afghanistan and others were mutilated. These are deep national, international, and national wounds.
yep,
The tariffs are causing chaos at this level, but these are the statements
that's right.
that penetrate the consciousness of
That's right.
country.
That's right. Well, and look who's taking advantage of that. Why was there that summit between Putin and Kim Il Jong and who's the other one? And
Modi.
she and Modi,
Mo-
but she too. They understand what a lot of people don't seem to quite get yet. There is a shift in power,
mhm.
and it's true that every nations rise and nations fall.
Yeah.
American exceptionalism does not inoculate us against that because, in fact, we were never exceptional. We just told ourselves in the world that we.
Yes.
So, I mean, the damage, the damage is inestimable, I think. Um,
Yes. Yes. And I think it's hard for many Americans to get their heads around it. It's not the end of the world. Like the UK has gone from ruling a quarter of the world, an empire, into a normal-ish
right,
country.
right.
And it's not, so to not think of it as an existential crisis, although it might be for some, but if you educate yourself on patterns of history and why things go the way they do, it's as simple as that, really. You can't be as abusive as Trump and Vance have been, and now Witkoff, that's another story, because people don't forget.
No, that's right,
Money comes and goes, but these really wound.
right. And I know
So,
people come to channels like yours and channels like mine for hope. I hope more to the point they come to hear what we see as what's coming or the truth as we see it. And sometimes that's great news, and sometimes it's not so great news.
sure, but at the same time, we've got to start thinking in longer time frames, I think, because I think I am optimistic and I am hopeful in the big picture,
Exactly.
but it just takes much, much longer than us in the modern world would like to see.
Right. I couldn't agree more. I mean, you talked about
Mm.
England. I mean, I think it's a good thing for America to be more right-sized in the world.
Mm, yes. And so much of America's dominance has rested on international trade being largely conducted in US currency.
Yes.
So every transaction that involved that was a little win or a big win to America. But this behavior means, I mean, he's pushed India and China into each other's arms.
Yep.
They are not comfortable bedfellows. He's pushed them together. The two biggest countries in the world who are ascending
Yes.
push them together. So what we're going to see instead of this US dominance at the axis point of world everything, it's going to be a multipolar world.
That's
And
right.
that's not altogether a bad
I
thing.
agree. I agree. So
Mm. So don't be frightened by it, is what I'd say to people. We're just on the cusp of an historical change.
we are, and and many generations have experienced this kind of thing, right? So,
Yeah, yeah.
and written books and lived to tell the tale. So,
Mhm.
these are, and also I always say we chose to come here now. So
Yes,
we need to be part of the solution. So, all
that's
right,
right.
DC, DC.
Oh, yes.
I was shocked by uh, DC's mayor, Muriel Bowser. Did you see what she said?
Hmm. Yeah.
Where she said, "Oh, crime's gone down, and this is really great, and I appreciate the help." Now, what?
Mm.
But it's also true that DC is a district. It's not a state. There may
Mm.
very well be a degree to which she has to acquiesce because what's the alternative? I don't know.
Mm. Yes. And now we are seeing those leaders who choose to stand up and those who choose to take the road of least resistance.
Right.
Now, I'm not in her shoes, so it would be easy for me to point fingers. However, I was shocked when I heard those comments.
Yes. I'm,
And I don't think it's,
and of course I mean, black woman that she is, and we all know he hates black women, but because she thanked him, he praises her because that's how it works.
it's a very simple, simple equation.
Right.
And do you remember when Tim Cook of Apple went in and took in the novelty gold object? And
Yes.
everyone, including me, was going, oh, how dare he
It
bend the knee
works.
and he's doing so. I thought about it for a day and I thought, no, smart move. You only have to dazzle a shiny thing, or in this case, compliments,
Yes.
and he's butter in your hands.
Yes. Well, like,
So the entire of Apple's got a carve out from all this stuff
yes.
because he gave him a dangly thing.
Yes. One
It's
thing, it's
pathetic.
pathetic, but I will tell you one thing that has thrilled me no end is the court's decision on Harvard, the money that he took from Harvard, the
Mm,
billions, saying, yeah, you can't do that. This is a cynical, dishonest move. You're saying it's because they're anti-Semitic. No, what you're trying to do is bring American colleges and universities to their knees, and that's illegal.
yes.
So I am thrilled that at least so far, Harvard has stayed the course with tremendous pressure on the president, I might add. We
Mm,
have
oh, yeah.
really, the
You
alumni.
wouldn't want to be in the academic senate in this time.
No, no, he is really, but I noticed that when they had that court decision, all of a sudden alumni started to get letters saying, so this is great and we're staying the course, and but there was radio silence from him for weeks prior to that. But I'm very,
Mm,
very happy. I do think the courts are doing their best. We'll see what happens when the Supreme Court comes back in a month. Um,
mm. The thing is with I think it's not a bridge too far to say corrupt Supreme Court in the sense
yes,
they've been bought and sold.
absolutely.
Obviously, not the whole court, but enough.
Enough.
The voting majority has been. Now, where was I going with that thought first? Oh, Harvard. It concerns me that the court, the middle level courts and the higher level, we've still got the Supreme Court up here, are doing their job. Now, the Supreme Court can't hear every case.
Right.
So some are going to actually have this. But because this is such a blatant regime, I'm not confident they're going to oblige.
hmm Well, this is
So,
the issue. I mean, this is the issue. What happens if the courts do chastise him? The court chastise.
oh,
what's to say that he won't say, well, so, and ignore them. There's nothing, there's no provision for that.
Exactly. And that's what we've seen throughout his
Yeah.
presidency. Things that you thought within the country and we thought around the world were rock solid, they were really just gentlemen's handshakes.
Yes. That's it.
As soon as someone went, nah, as we'd say in Australia, nah, not doing it,
Mhm.
it just falls over.
Falls over. And it's
Because,
good to see, though. I mean, it's very good. One of the things
yes,
we're learning is, the founding fathers did a lot of great work on a lot of things. They were prescient, they were visionary, etc. But there are gaping holes, considering that 200 years have passed now,
mm,
gaping holes in the framing of that document, and they need to be plugged.
because it rests on conventions.
Yes, yes,
And he blows conventions out of the water, leaving the country exposed, naked, and shivering
yes.
because these guardrails have not been tested.
That's right. That's right.
So there's been too many to count points at which something should have happened.
That's right.
So in his very first presidency, when he said to everyone, come and stay at my hotel, contravening the emoluments
Yes,
clause, right, blatantly, I
yes.
think he got away with something that paved the way for everything else. That's the problem.
That's the
It's not
problem.
that that would become the worst thing he ever did, but he got away with it.
Right.
Now, Erica, what I'd like to say in the upside of all this awfulness is it has revealed that it is a two, if not three-tiered justice system. Now, we all know if you are concerned by justice and have a streak of justice and have done your homework, we always knew it was never a level playing field.
Yeah.
However, it has blatantly exposed this next level.
Yes, which is a good thing.
Yes, that's what I think.
It's a good
Yeah,
thing. Let the sunshine is the best disinfectant, right? That's what
indeed. I love that.
that's
But
that
also, we're still a million miles. No court is going to actually arrest not only him, but any of his cabinet or the people who contravene these laws. They're
yeah,
not doing that. Because, and people will probably write in saying, oh, that's because the DOJ has to send the sheriff's department. Yes, and that's another problem with the system. Now you've got a rotten DOJ,
right. That is not
thoroughly rotten.
independent. Right.
None of the rest works.
That's right. That's right. So this is great. We're seeing all the gaping holes so that when
Yep,
we sew up the fabric with new cloth and new
new
thread,
thread.
you know,
Yes.
maybe we can get it right. We mentioned before we went on the air that we wanted to talk about the veterans and the National Guards, not guardsmen, and the retired upper brass of the military, all of whom are restless
Mm,
and angry and frustrated. I mean, it's not a good look to arrest veterans. That's the first thing in DC.
mm,
You've got National Guards men and women who've been moved from where they live to pick up trash,
mm,
and they say this is not what we signed up for. And you've got retired military who are on a very high level speaking out against 47. So
mm,
I think those are good things. It makes me wonder what will happen moving forward with, for example, the National Guard when he actually does send them in
mm.
to different.
And I think the veterans, there's a very important website now, rememberyouroath.org.
uh,
So anyone who's in the audience who is a veteran or related to a veteran or friends with a veteran, I think they're doing a great job as they're joining together.
Right. And the point of remember your oath, I mean, think about what those words mean. You take an oath to protect and defend the country, but you are not required to follow orders that are illegal or immoral. So I guess each person is going to have to decide that for themselves.
Yes, and people's values, because if you're struggling for money and you're suddenly offered uh, money for a deployment of this fashion, it takes a very strong person to turn their back on that
Right.
in this current climate,
Well,
too.
that's probably why he wants to bulk up ICE. ICE is not just going to be
Yes,
ICE. ICE is going to be his private SS army. That's what
it
they're,
is already, I would argue.
yeah,
Yes.
right.
And
So you bribe,
zero training. It's
no
like
train, no,
sign
they cut the
here.
training in half.
Yeah.
And part of the training had been language, Spanish. They got
Mm,
rid of that, so now you can't
mm,
even communicate with them.
yeah.
And you get this $10,000 per year bonus. If you sign on for 5 years, that's $50,000. That's the bonus. And if you have student loans, those will be forgiven. Those are incredibly
Big
seductive.
incentives.
Yeah, they really are. So that's something that we need to watch for because if the regular standard army and the regular standard National Guardsmen say, yeah, we're not doing this, he can always turn to his
Exactly.
SS troops.
And it's also all the money in the world for ICE and then the meanness for the National Guard. I heard somewhere, correct me if I'm wrong, people for watching, but they've been put on 29-day rosters because if they were on 30-day rosters, they'd have to pay them more and better conditions.
Not surprising.
Not surprised. That's the sort of thing that does get up your nose,
Yeah.
though.
But that's typical Trump, always
Isn't it
things on
typical Trump? And yet all the money in the world over here
right,
for
right.
untrained thuggery.
I think it will be, I am not looking forward to when he decides to invade a city, whichever city that is, whether it's New Orleans or Chicago, some black city, because, that's how he
Yeah,
rolls.
yeah, that's how it goes.
But I think it will be a very interesting test of whether or not soldiers remember their oath, citizens remember that they're fighting against their countrymen. What do you
Mm.
do? Let's see what happens. I remember the watershed moment that Kent State presented. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know, have we become a cruder culture so that something like that will not affect us in the way that it did back then? I hope not. We'll see.
Yeah. I think there's been so much water under the bridge since Kent State. It would take a lot to have that same national reaction.
Well, I remember him asking, I forget whether it was Millie or whoever he asked, can we just shoot him in the legs?
Yes.
He was told, yeah, no, you can't do that. Well, now with Hegseth there may be
Yeah.
some. Back in the 60s, we would say it's a time for martyrs now. And it was a
Yeah.
time for martyrs.
Yes.
And the martyrs tended to be civil rights leaders who knew who knew the danger that they were in. I
Mm.
think now the word martyr is going to end up possibly being attached to your average run-of-the-mill citizen coming out to express themselves in the way that we have always thought of as American, getting
Mm.
shot maybe a little higher than the legs.
Mm. Entirely possible.
People say how long? This will go on until the densest among us get it. And the rest of us just kind of have to wait and endure till they catch up.
And play whatever your small role is in the resistance is
Absolutely.
important. You
Absolutely.
want to be on the right side of history in this.
Speaking of on the right side of history, who knew that our good friend, not Marjorie Taylor Greene, would
Oh,
be on the right side of history. Fascinating.
extraordinary, isn't it?
Yes.
It's absolutely extraordinary. I mean, she's still the rat bag right wing
Job.
nutcase that we
Yeah, she
all
is.
knew. But on this issue, and we're obviously talking about Epstein and support for the survivors of that, she's nailed it. And she's saying the things the Dems should be saying at a high level.
Yes. And
Isn't it ironic?
ironic, what's also being exposed is the fact that they are really going after her in the same way
Mm,
that they're going after Massey, the Republican from Kentucky, who is the lone male on the Republican
yes,
side who's supporting these women. I think
yes.
this is very, very interesting. Marjorie Taylor Greene has done a little bit of sleight of hand by sort of trying to separate out her dear leader, 47,
Mm.
from Epstein and whoever has been in Epstein's orbit in the Congress. Uh, I think that's a pretty I think that's a tough row for her to hoe.
For sure, because presumably she also voted for the big ugly bill and all those repressive measures for women in red states in terms of reproductive health. So it's kind of weird, but there is talk in the chattering classes, which that is she making a play now, a longer term play?
Think she is.
Yeah.
So is Massey. I mean, you can't tell me that Massey is not going to run for president in 2028, that he won't
Okay.
challenge Vance or whoever
Mhm.
it is. He absolutely will. I think she's a pariah in the Congress, sort of generally speaking.
Mhm.
I think she sees this as an opportunity to be a champion. I mean,
And she's, it's that old adage, a broken clock's right twice a day.
what's the other one is the enemy of wait, the enemy of my enemy
Of
is my
my
friend.
enemy is my friend. Look, totally. And I call it a perverted alliance.
Exactly.
Um,
Murder the Lion.
and you take that alliance in terms, she is a congresswoman despite everything. And what she's saying, I keep looking for her to fall over,
Yeah.
but she doesn't.
Mm.
She really has nailed this stuff,
Right.
which would raise the question about her own history, I would say. Why is
Oh,
she so passionate and clear about this?
yeah, but you know what? I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm going to just go out on a limb and say every woman on two legs has had some kind of experience that has been less than ideal, we'll just say,
Hmm.
that has made her feel some type of way, even if it's simply something like that, just being looked at a certain way. You know,
Mm.
we all get that. So I don't know that she necessarily had to have had something happen to her the way that what's her name? Mace, the other one, Mace,
Nancy Mace.
Nancy Mace, clearly had experienced. But I think I think women get it. What I think is shameful is that you've got the one guy, Massey, good for him, and then you have the three women,
Mm.
Boebert, that's another one,
Mm.
Boebert, Mace, and Marjorie Taylor Greene,
Mm.
and that's it.
Yes, I know.
Do they
But
think
it's
they
part
really
of,
that being quiet makes them look anything less than guilty?
yeah, or indifferent to such a major issue. It's hard to understand the
Except
silence.
it's not.
Oh,
Except
of course it's not. Yeah, rhetorical moment here.
exactly
Yes,
rhetorical
and
moment.
particularly with the Dems
Mhm.
who are just overseeing the dismantling of the American empire, the American democracy, the American trading system in the world. And it's crickets.
Yeah,
It's
crickets.
shocking.
Hmm.
And after the last election, which was so disturbing in so many ways. They didn't even hold out for a day
Nope.
and say, we demand recounts in swing
I'm
states or
very
nothing.
curious to read uh oh my God, Senior Moment, Kamala Harris's new book that's coming out.
Yes.
Because I read it, I just saw a headline. I have to read the article, but the headline said something like the Obamas are not eager to break bread and have tea with Harris. I thought that was interesting. I
Yeah.
I hope we know Pelosi blackballed her, did not want her.
Yes, for sure, for sure, for
She
sure.
wanted to have a
Yep.
big convention. A
Yeah.
convention, how many days before the election? Are you
Yeah.
kidding? That wasn't going to work. But I'm hoping that she blows the lid off
What
everything.
happened?
Hmm.
I do too. And I think she might because when she went on, was it with Colbert?
Yeah, she said, I realize that the system is broken, and I
That's a
used to
key
say,
phrase.
she said over and over, she said, I used to say, because my family would say, why are you going into politics? You know, it's so
Mm,
corrupt. And she was sort of very high and mighty, would say, well,
mm.
the only place you can make change is from within. She
Yeah, yeah,
goes,
yeah.
yeah, she said, she says, not within that. So
No,
clearly, whatever she has to say, had she not stepped out of the arena and said, I'm not working within the system, she would have been tossed out
yes.
based on whatever is in this book. So I can't wait to
And
read.
I think it happened while we were watching. I think campaigning Kamala was still fighting for the system and from within the system. And then she won in that sense of to the top of the primary pile, etc. And I think she did a magnificent job with no time
Right?
and all of that. Then the system kicked in
Yeah.
and it was Gore all over again
Yeah.
and all of this.
Yes.
At
Yes.
such a critical juncture in history,
And
it
nobody
wasn't her
fought back.
call, is what I'm saying. I don't
It
believe it
was
was her
not her
call.
fault. It was not her fault. And there was zero resistance from the Democrats. Now they will say, well, we didn't know that this was going to happen. We didn't expect it. In fact, when they were asked, what is your response to this? You know what the first thing they said was, it only just happened. Give us time. Give us
I know, I couldn't believe that. We all knew it was going to happen in the sense of they're going to try everything. Everyone knew Elon was active.
yes.
Everyone knew Russia had a role to play.
Yes.
We all knew. How come the senior Democrats didn't know?
Or did they?
Or did they? And
I mean,
yeah,
that's the
that's the
thing.
more interesting question.
Right? I mean, who knows? Speaking of wheels within wheels and people having say and sway that maybe shouldn't, Laura Loomer. What is your take on, I've done a few videos on her and I saw her rise, then I saw her fall and
Yeah, and
she
then
put out.
rise again.
Well, all of a sudden now, apparently, she and what's his name, Miller, are the ones calling all the shots. What do you think that's about?
It's so hard to get a handle on her. Like, has she got radical mental health issues,
Yes,
or does she pretend to have it and that's a
Lena.
cover
No,
for saying and
no,
doing?
Lena. She's
You
crazy
think
as
it's
a
the
bed
real
bug. She's
deal?
crazy as a bed bug. She's a
Yes.
zealot. She has a long range plan, which is not going to happen. Her long range plan is that she thinks once everything is over, she will get her own show because she even mentioned Jen Psaki, who has her own show on
Mhm.
MSNBC. She thinks that that's going to be her trajectory. She'll be the Republican Jen Psaki, and
Mhm.
so she's just positioning herself. But what I want to know is, I mean, a lot of people are in Trump's ear. Why does she have such influence on him?
Yes. I actually don't know the answer to that because, and this sounds terrible, but your viewers hopefully will know what I mean. She's not his type in a way that Caroline Levitt is his type. So, what is her juju that really allows her to stay
Oh,
in that
okay. First off, and
place?
this is mean, but I mean, come for me if you want. If you squint and you look from a distance, she's like a bargain basement Melania.
Melania from, yeah, and 15 years younger or whatever.
Yeah.
It
Yep.
could be as simple as that with him.
With
I
him,
know. But it must be driving the other cabinet members mad. And this happens in every Trump administration, because even if you're a sycophant and you've spent the last 24 hours coming up with ridiculous things for him to say and do, and then she just flies in, meh.
yes. Yes. It's just bizarre.
But also, she should have been out at the conspiracy theory with 9/11. Now, there's always been conspiracy theories, but she was with the president at the site and was sprouting
Yeah.
this stuff. That should have been the end. The machine should have crushed her at that point, and the media should have crushed him for that, and they did nothing really. They all mentioned it, but it was just another wave in the ocean of hypocrisy, vengefulness, and
You
out
know, this
madness.
is the thing. It's not one act by a
Yeah.
single person. It's this confluence of
Yes.
either inaction, but mostly inaction on the part of
Yeah.
people who could stop things and then didn't stop things.
Yes. And her profile's particularly interesting because she's Jewish and a white supremacist.
Well, like so is Miller.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's what their affinity is about.
Mhm. I think so too. Well, you know, she's had plastic surgery. I guess this was to look more like, I don't even know. I mean, her lips just,
Yeah.
so her latest thing is Senator Warner, the Republican, I mean, the Democrat, was supposed to be able to go and look, I forget what it is he was going to look at. But she prevented him from going to this briefing, this what is it? What was the briefing about? I don't even know. But it's some briefing that he was allowed to go to and
Mm.
get the evidence for. She prevented it. Now that should be against the law. He's a senator. He has not just a right, but a duty and an obligation.
Yeah. Yes.
And she
Yes.
apparently put the kibosh on it, and so he could not get into that briefing.
And she has massive power. And so, well, what is it about? You know,
I don't know.
I mean, it's a hard, normally either of us would have very strong opinions on what happened and when. Don't
Right.
understand the Laura Loomer thing.
No,
Don't understand because she's a cartoon and in the worst possible way. And in a way, she's a conflation of Melania and Lara Trump and all of the sort of thing embodied in one. But why her and why her success? Because I don't think it's extortion or anything like that. It's just what could happen, of course, because he is so capricious, is he could spit her out any day of the week.
well, yes. But she knows that, and she's smart enough to go right up to the line, look at
Yeah,
him and see if she can go over the line. And if it looks like it's okay with him, she'll go over the line.
yeah, willingly and happily.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think who else is in his immediate sphere? So
Well,
I
I would
think,
say that someone well, I have my own theories on this poor person. Marco Rubio is a mess.
hmm,
Looks so depressed all the
doesn't he?
well, yes. He's doing 10,000 jobs because they're
Hmm,
running out of
yeah,
people to give jobs to.
yes, yes, yes.
And if you watch his body language, He looks like in any meeting that you see, everybody will be sitting up straight. He'll be hunched over like a kid in the principal's office who did something and he's waiting to get punished. I think there's some money thing around him. I think he owes money,
Mm.
and that's why he can't just quit.
I know. And I think in his heart, he actually feels bad about ICE and what's done to his community, essentially, but he's stuck in there defending it.
And he also was a rabid anti-Russia guy.
Yeah.
And now we're all hugged up with Russia, or we
No, he's
were.
really sold his
He
soul.
sold his
The
soul.
others arguably didn't have souls to lose, like the
Right.
Stephen Millers, but he has. And it's a bit like Lindsey Graham. Once you do that, and then you spend the rest of your life as a quarter of your potential
Yeah.
self,
Yeah.
they've won anyway.
Yeah.
Just get out of politics.
Yeah. Or Cruz. Cruz is another one.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's thirst and lust
Mhm.
for power, but at such a price.
Well, you know
You
what?
know,
My biggest hope is just that people are observing all of this.
yes. And I tell you another positive thing that I've noticed. Admittedly, I'm obviously in a generally lefty echo chamber. We all have our echo chambers, but what I'm seeing lots and lots and lots of are these videos of everyday Americans with 3 bags of groceries and they've spent $170 and something.
Yeah.
And what I'm hearing, which is really interesting to me, because you can tell if people have working class accents, whether that's the US or Australia or anywhere else. So these are genuine working class people. And the middle class ones have another sort of analysis of what's
Right.
going on. But the language is shifting
Yes.
with the working class and
Yes.
just saying it's outrageous that they can find plenty of money for the billionaires, but look what we're paying for Cheerios or
That's
something.
what I've
They're
said.
starting to put the class issues together
Yes, which is
for
great.
the first time.
That's right. I knew that this would happen in the fall when people go back to school and have to pay for clothes and supplies and all of that for their kids. When the holidays come and they've got to buy the Thanksgiving meal and it costs 3 times what it did before Christmas and Hanukkah. This is when it hits people where they live, that's
Yep.
when things are going to shift. That's
Yep. And he's going to keep going because his gaslighting, well, gaslighting by definition is shameless, but
right.
he just pulls figures out of the air and tells them how great it is.
He lies.
And
If his lips are moving, he's lying. Did you hear about Social Security?
in what sense?
There's a new Democratic bill that's to not tax Social Security. Now,
Mm.
I don't think it should be taxed. We earned that
Of
money a
course, it
long
shouldn't be
time
taxed.
ago. What? But anyway, Reagan, another one. Anyway,
Mm.
it started with him. So there's this new bill from the Democrats to not tax Social Security, and people are saying, wait a minute. During the conversation about the big, beautiful bill, one of the things that Trump touted in the big, beautiful bill was that there would be what? No tax on Social Security. It was
Mm.
a lie.
Mm.
It was a lie. So people really need to start putting on their thinking caps, paying attention to what he says over against what he's done.
It does, exactly. And I think the clincher, the one that's going to actually do the most damage to them, is, and it's happening already, people's elderly and disabled are being chucked out of nursing homes
Right.
because those facilities will not accept Medicaid.
That's right.
What do you do with your 87-year-old mother with Alzheimer's? What
Right.
do you do with your 78-year-old father who's had a severe stroke? What do you do? Now,
Well,
this is going to,
I mentioned Israel as being a genocidal pariah state. We are a pariah state or becoming a pariah state. This is where the genocidal piece comes in.
very interesting point.
Right.
Yes. people will, because already, because of the appalling lack of healthcare, like America's life expectancy is 49th in the world or something truly shocking because of that. So it's coming from a low base
Right,
compared with the rest of the first world
right,
for all this stuff to be happening. In other words, to follow your point, people are going to die because they're Americans.
right. They will die because they're Americans who are poor or who are old, or because Bobby Kennedy said that they couldn't get a COVID shot.
Oh, oh, you know, it's strange. Normally, dictatorial regimes are nothing if not efficient,
Right,
right?
right. But
Ruthless
these people are
and
not efficient.
efficient.
Yeah, these people are not, they don't have
But
that.
the delirious cast that we have
Yeah,
with the pro wrestling, pundit in charge of education, it's like he picks the silliest and most stupid. I don't think the designers of Project 2025, whether it's Curtis Yarvin or Peter Thiel or whatever names are bandied about,
yeah.
could have dreamt
No,
they would be given this gift.
no, I know. Right. Because what this gift does is it dismantles government as we knew it.
Yes.
Right.
And
Which
then
leaves
that
them
means the
then.
private sector
Yeah,
can move in and
yeah,
replace agencies for profit,
yeah.
which is the aim of the game.
That's
However,
it.
the other thing, and I think this is juicy to think about, again on the upside, I don't think these tech bro boy fantasies that are always detached and devoid of compassion, it's the shortest line between 2 points. It's like Musk, we've wrecked this planet, let's colonize Mars.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's how they think at the best of times.
Right,
And it's called visionary, except
right,
it doesn't involve people.
right.
Anyway,
Yeah,
I
brilliant.
digress. But they couldn't have dreamt also that he would impose these tariffs to this extent. I think they thought he'll mutter about tariffs and he'll probably put a couple of tariffs on to frighten people or something. But this is not only destabilizing world economic markets, what they couldn't have foreseen is because everyone assumes everyone else is terrified of America and will capitulate. First time round, the world did. This time round, everywhere is saying, no, I am actually going to have a meeting now with Canada or Germany or Holland or Japan or South Korea because we're not dealing with this anymore.
That's right. I really hoped that what that would happen would mean that corporate America would rise up and say,
I know, I've been waiting. I've been waiting, but no, they go in with the baubles like Tim Cook,
yeah,
right? And again, they're only thinking of their company
that's
and
right,
their bottom line
right,
because they're incapable of thinking in humanitarian terms.
right.
But I'm surprised more of them haven't bailed him up and Scott Bessant and said,
No, I
you've got to
think that
back
the
away from this.
boycotts are going to be increasing, and I think that I'm hoping that that has some sort of impact. Uh,
Yeah, and they're informal boycotts and they're really expanding.
they're expanding. I don't feel like they're doing a good enough job of codifying it, of making it a national thing. You might see an Instagram post here and there, but
Yeah.
they're not. But because of corporate media, legacy media is certainly not
Mm.
going to publicize it. I think there's some disorganization around these boycotts.
Well, that's why I use the word informal.
Informal, yeah.
It's just word of mouth. Why don't you do it? And then people do. And I think it's great that
But
people
that's
are
not how
doing
they
it.
do it in France. Why are we paying attention to the French know how to do it
So,
right?
like you say, they need to name it and claim it
Yes,
and then point the finger.
that's right.
Because at the moment, like given particularly Canadians, but the whole world is not holidaying in the US. You
No,
know, they're really not. So Las Vegas and Florida and what's that? And small businesses who are really doing it tough are coming out and saying things like, it must be the weather.
must be the weather. I heard that.
And you just go, no. So they can stay in that delusion.
That's why
It's
he
like the,
America will be woke no more because he wants everybody to stay asleep and think that it's the weather. Yeah,
yeah, yes. And I'm amazed the level of delusion. These are people whose actual lives, families, and professional thing are obviously impacted, but they don't
so you know
watch
it's
the
a cult.
news.
It's a cult. That's how you know,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
No rational argument can get through.
No. And the desperate, weeping farmers, and it breaks my heart as a farmer's daughter. No, they never mention the T word.
No, no.
They never mention the T word, you know?
Well, I just live in hope that there will be a breaking point,
Mm,
that the
yes.
fever will at some point break.
And I think it's circling back to where we started this
Right,
aspect. It's when it hits people in their wallet.
right.
And that's why I'll go as far as to say, I don't want the Yeti out just yet because I don't think the people are at that point yet. I
Somebody was
don't want
saying that,
him to become a martyr and then
yeah,
have
that's
people
it.
say, if only he'd gone on longer, he would have made us
Right,
trillions of
right,
dollars. And
right,
now
right.
it can't happen like that,
No,
please. No.
no, you're absolutely
So
right.
I want viewers to think about that, and I'll talk about that on my channel too. Actually, careful what you wish for. It has to go on long enough that they identify him and he has to wear that. Then anything can happen.
Well, you know what I've heard? I mean, to be all metaphysical about it, that
Mm.
he has, as all of us do, his soul has a mission.
Hmm.
And if his soul's mission, if we put the best spin on it, his soul's mission is to show us who it is that we've become, which is not
Yes.
anything great. Okay. And he's not done yet.
Yeah.
That there is more that he can teach us. And when enough people have finally suffered and gotten the point and
Hmm.
understood, that's when he'll be able to go.
Yes.
Now,
I
I know
sincerely hope so, Erica.
you know, it sounds very sort of fairy tale-y, but
But no, it's like that. And he was or did agree in terms of soul contract to be the selfish chaos merchant. Embrace that. No one's done it better. Um,
right.
he's always been the self-serving clown that he is, and people refuse to see it.
Right. Now, on a conscious level, as just a regular human being, not taking the soul into account, you're
Mm,
right. That's what he wanted to do. Be rich, be powerful, and rule everything. But his personality is not the same thing as his soul.
no.
So I like to think that his soul said, okay, I really don't want to do it, but I'm going to agree to be this absolute asshole so that people can see what
Hmm.
absolute asshole of a country, in many ways, the US has become. I
Yeah.
take that on. I listen, I don't want to
Yeah.
do it,
I love this. Yeah.
but I will because we all come from source, we all go back to source. My soul being the unselfish part of me, I will take this role on. That's the thing. Because,
Mm,
I mean, I don't want to, I choose not to ascribe his longevity in the face of everything and his Teflonishness to what he would attribute it to, which is genetics. I think it's because he still has work to do.
work to do.
And our job is to pay attention, to learn the
Exactly.
lesson. Because if we don't learn the lesson, we're going to get somebody worse than him. like Project
Yes.
2025 and
Who's
then.
more efficient?
That's right. That's right.
God help America.
God help
Um,
the world.
and the world. It is like that because it was like when he was a playboy coming of age in the late 80s and 90s, and credit was everywhere, and every bank was fighting to lend to him. And then bankruptcy, bankruptcy, bankruptcy.
Yeah.
It took six bankruptcies for the American financial institutions to finally say
Yes.
no, because they bought the myth along with everything else. Then, of course, he got Russian money and Middle Eastern money, and we know the rest. But the point is, it took all those years and all those failures. And people kept saying, no, too big to fail. No, he's a New York guy. Oh, he's a real estate titan.
Yes.
He's never made a decent deal in his life.
No.
He's never worked a day in his
No.
life.
Our
And
job
it
is
is
to
like
learn the
what I'm
lesson.
hoping now, Erica, is he's actually obviously too sick to golf at the moment, but he has golfed his way through the
Mhm.
president. JD Vance has had 7 vacations in
No, on
seven
our
months.
dime. Yeah.
I want people to start putting that together.
That's
Why am
right.
I working 3 jobs and he's had 7 vacations?
Vacations. Yeah.
What's wrong with this picture?
Yeah. Exactly.
And
Be
he's going to
awake.
spend,
Wake up. Be woke. America
be
be
woke.
woke no more. Are you kidding?
Yeah, it's so obvious, but people can choose la 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 la.
Yeah.
I think he's doing the best he can. Let's put it that way.
He's doing the best he can. That's right. That's right. And we now have to do our part. We have to
Yes,
wake up, pay attention. And as you
yes,
said earlier on, each of us has our own way of being part of the resistance, part
yes.
of the revolution. I mean, my part is having these conversations with you, doing what I do on my channel, writing on Substack. That's what I can do. Each person can participate, even if it's just talking to your uncle at Thanksgiving, your
Yeah,
die-hard Trumpy uncle. Just have a
mm,
conversation with him instead of not doing that.
yeah,
Everybody has to play their part, and then
yes.
you can feel free to go to his reward.
Exactly. Well, I think we've been very elevated.
Yes. Oh gosh. Is there anything we haven't touched on that we wanted to talk about this time around?
I think we've covered a lot of territory.
Sounds good. All right. It has been wonderful as always having you here. And I love that my audience listens and enjoys this and pays attention and talks about it and shares it. And we really appreciate that. And we will be back next month, you and I.
Very exciting.
You know, listen, I'm with everybody else who thinks October will be um, a month.
Massive,
Yeah. Yeah. So,
massive.
so we'll have something to talk about as always. As always. Thanks,
Thank you so
everybody.
much, Erica, and thank you everybody who's been watching.
Yes, and you'll see me tomorrow, Monday, and you'll see Lena on her channel. I'll put her YouTube channel on the she in the show notes so that you can find her, and we will be together in October. All right, everybody.
That'll be an epic.
It will be epic. Take care, everybody.